Welcome back to the harbor. I'm your boy, the Kino Cowboy, with Boston Flashers, Scott, almost not an expat, and Simner. Today, we're talking about a movie somehow I have never seen after 15 years.
Somehow.
Hey, somehow, sometimes movies slip through the cracks.
Stuff slips
Oh,
by.
I wasn't allowed to watch rated R movies in 2007, so you know.
Also, this movie's it's against.
Okay, yeah,
God.
your mic is fucking fucked.
I don't.
It's not overtly against God, though. Marketing and it's just like, oh, it's Daniel Day-Lewis and oil.
Is this better? Do we need to start
Yeah,
over?
that's good. That's good.
It's
Okay.
God capitalism.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, so since this is my first time, y'all are gonna have to bring the rodeo. I want y'all to talk how y'all came to this movie and why y'all like it so much. So someone start. Shit.
The movie is There Will Be Blood. It's a movie about an oil tycoon who goes to a small town in California, takes over that small town by offering the money, and is confronted by the people of the town and his own morality.
All right, mediocre bit. Next.
Yeah. So
How is that a bit? I'm just giving everybody a little bit of a detail of where we're going.
Well, wait. So Scott Keith and Austin Flasher. I don't know why I'm being so formal. Did both of y'all fuck with this movie, or are y'all like kind of because okay?
I understand the artistic merit of it.
So here's my thing with There Will Be Blood. So it was in high school, kind of late high school, and it was around the time I was in film as text with old Dr. Terrell.
Chad Terrell.
So I'm learning about, like the craft of movies and, like what makes a movie good and stuff like that. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to start to watch like the movies that are supposed to be good. And at that point in my life, like, kind of like late teens, early 20s, like some movies you'll watch and like they don't quite go over your head, but you're still young. Like you don't have a ton of life experience. So like you can't fully like put a finger or like grasp stuff or whatever. And so I watched There Will Be Blood and like it went like just over my head, but like something about it was like I think I intuited the way Plainview is like a fucking bastard and he's portrayed as one so well. The way that's wrapped up with that like industrial era, like capitalism, just like that acquire shit or whatever, and then coupled with like the shit going on with Eli and the church. I think it just made an impression on me, and I've watched it every few years since then or whatever. And it turns out like it's just one of those movies that I love to watch. Like most moments of that movie I'm pretty riveted by. Like even the minutia, like the way it's scored and shit like that. And then the scale of like when the shit blows up and everything. Yeah, I fuck with this movie hard. That's what's up. Yeah. Seen it probably like 4 or 5 times. Yeah.
This was my second watch. The first watch, I totally didn't pick up on a lot of shit. I was like, 16, 17 the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
And this time I watched it, I was able to pick up a lot more. A lot more of the themes, especially, with the way that capitalism is presented and the way that religion and things like that, all that shit was complicated back in high school. I just thought it was cool in high school.
Yeah.
There are some absolutely fucking stellar scenes in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
And it was like my first real exposure to Daniel Day-Lewis, I think.
Me too.
And
Me
so
too.
it's cool to revisit this movie now. Oh God, I watched this back in like 2010, and so about 12 years ago. I haven't seen it since then.
Yeah.
It's an excellent movie. It is definitely one where if you are even a modicum of tired, though, you are going to fall asleep. It's a slow burn, but it's fully worth it in the end, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this is also based off a book by Upton Sinclair called Oil.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you guys have read that, but I am honestly interested now at this point. I haven't read Sinclair book.
No, but Upton Sinclair is very socialist, and I think his one of his books allegedly led to the creation of the FDA.
I think that's Grapes of Wrath, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh no,
No. It's called The Jungle, isn't it?
it's the Jungle.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Grapes of Wrath. Sorry, I just woke up.
It's fine. It was
But
John
yeah,
Steinbeck.
so like it PTA, like he read Oil, like, and Oil apparently does, like, I read an interview with him, and like apparently that book like just presents the world, like of the oil industry down to like the minutia of the little guys to like the upper guys or whatever. And then like a lot of the story was like original. So like the characters and like the not Bundys, Bandies, yeah, like the brothers and shit like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, man, it's I just fuck with it hard.
Daniel Plainview is absolutely one of the most fucked up characters I've probably ever seen in cinema.
Yeah,
just
he's one of the most characters in cinema, for sure. I think in his own way.
Yeah,
One of the most characters. But my history with this is probably similar to Sumner's. As I was in upper high school, I was, getting more into film and getting more into understanding film theory and being able to read cinematography. I've probably seen this 4 or 5 times. I was obsessed, maybe not obsessed, but riveted, rightfully so, by Daniel Day-Lewis's character. And I think Paul Dano does a great job too.
yeah.
And it is almost overshadowed, but he has some great scenes in this. And I think this, I don't know, it was a movie. It was very popular at the awards season. I remember this Oscars when it was up against another sort of compared a lot to each other film, No Country for Old Men, which won. And let me ask you guys this. Is this movie a Western?
I was going to ask that too. Yeah. I think it is.
It's hard to say it's not. Because it like the exploration, like he's at the cutting edge of the industry as well as in the West.
It is westward expansionism. Right. It's late in the game.
It's like a Hangover Western. You know what I mean? It's like after like the glory days and shit. Agree. Yeah.
It's no
definitely
shootout.
Yeah, there's no it's not even that there's no shootout. There's no lawman. I think that's
Correct.
What I get.
There's industry, and then there's like the town folk.
And there's definitely no hero.
Yeah. Yeah. Eli presents himself as one, but it's like by the time I feel like by the time the ending scene is wrapped up and Eli is like kind of groveling, and it's like I've morally sinned and this and that or whatever, you kind of knew that was coming, because the whole the scene with Daniel in the church, like where like he's getting him to confess and shit like that or whatever, that scene's demented. Like next level demented, and it's like it's clear there's nothing spiritual going on here. This is just like this twisted little man in the guise of a pastor trying to like get his claws into this like powerful man or whatever.
Do you think Daniel has any sort of remorse for what he did for his son, even an iota?
Yes. I think Eli extracted it. Like it's like, because it's clearly not a lot of remorse, but like it is there, and that kind of remorse is inevitably gonna be like a powerful thing. It's like the moment in that scene where I'm talking about, like Eli extracts this tone of voice out of Daniel, that's like he's actually confessing, I've abandoned my boy.
You've abandoned your son. Tell him you abandoned your son.
And it's like that moment where like and that's what makes him resent him so much, is like that. I think he got under his skin in that way.
Did he get that? I watched this about 4 days ago, so I kind of watched it a little too early. But was this before or after he straight up slaps the shit out of Eli for coming up and asking about money that's owed?
After.
Is it?
Yeah, okay. It was after. That was him like reclaiming his faith.
That's what I was wondering. Okay, yeah, Because I think he has resentment just towards all religion, because religion takes away money from his pocket a lot of the time.
No, and he hates himself and he hates everybody. Like he truly is a misanthrope, like through and through. Like that's another interesting correlation with No Country for Old Men, is like they both portray even The Dark Knight, honestly, which was like that other bit of the trifecta that award season or whatever, is just all these fucking psychopaths. And it's like they did a poll. It was like, I don't know if it was like the National Association of like mental health care providers or whatever, but they voted that Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men is like the most accurately depicted like sociopath ever put to film. And I think that's pretty accurate. And Daniel Plainview isn't like a sociopath or a psychopath like that. He really is a misanthrope. He hates himself and he hates everybody. And it like there's a scene, and it's like, because it's like there's a scene, especially the scene where like he's having to give his like brother, you know, like money for like whores and for drinking and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like that Daniel Day-Lewis, like he captures the feeling of disgust with people so well in
Doesn't
that
he like
moment.
throw the money on the ground? Like he's
No.
sitting there. No, it looked like, I couldn't remember if he tossed it on the ground or not. That scene in general, I was just like, man, he's about to fuck this dude up. I had like a really disgusting feeling. Nothing really happened, but I was like, man, something's setting up for some real fuck shit. Like
Well,
he's
the
an
amount
eater.
that you can just read on his face is what astounded me in this movie. I was
Bruh,
like,
yeah.
wow. And you mentioning No Country for Old Men, watching this movie made me think, I was like, wow, this really was at the forefront of that mid 2000s movement into gritty realism, like The Dark Knight and Casino Royale, all those big movies pushing for that. And so watching it really made that whole movement cohesive.
And there's something about oil, especially in this movie, that is so damn cinematic.
And also
Yeah.
like fucking,
It's just black. It's just it's like the black bile. It's just this black fucking liquid, you know, coming from that. And it's like it that's like one of the four humors or whatever. It's like that old school like Greek fucking weird like medical shit is like the black bile is melancholy. And it's just this black goo emanating from the earth, and like the tone of the film and like the nature of the characters is just so bleak. And dude, yeah, man.
Well, and there's just something about oil as a metaphor, not even just visually, but like it's made from dead things. You extract it from the earth. It dirties and soils everything it touches. We burn it. It's almost pure money because it's an essential resource. You know, we suck it up and kill the planet with it. And in this movie, it doesn't have to say any of that, but just the fact that it's this disgusting substance on the screen at all times, dirtying everything.
And it's like that is like probably like, because there's the sense that it's like, because especially like 2007, that was right before the financial crisis, you know, and shit like that,
and also into the Bush era, which
man,
fighting in for oil.
And it's like around the time we were beginning to see these like mass scale consequences of the kinds of systems that sprang up around what's being depicted in There Will Be Blood, which is, you know, that cutting edge of the Industrial Revolution. And like another interesting aspect about like the oil, like, is like that's probably the biggest thematic tie between Daniel and between Eli's church shit, because everything Daniel's doing, he's following the biblical charter, which is like, go forth and multiply, take whatever the fuck you want and don't worry about it. And along with what he was saying about like the gritty realism and shit like that or whatever, it's just kind of like, it's almost like a slice of life movie of the kinds of things. I know that's a weird thing to say.
I get it, but it's such a dense character study. It's multiple slices of his life, but I understand what you're saying.
And I did not expect the time jump to the 20s, because in my head I was like, oh, this is like a character study, descent into madness.
Yeah.
But I, from other movies, I guess I was expecting everything to go wrong and like something fuck up and
Yeah.
everything go to hell. But no, it was more realistic, and he just became a fucking old miser alone in his
Yeah.
house,
Yeah. There was
that's all he ever
nothing
wanted.
left in his way. Yeah.
which is
And-
fucking depressing, but ultimately perfect for the character in the ending. It was disgusting and evil.
No, and those
And
last
it's like-
20, 30 minutes make the movie. Go ahead, Sumner.
I was just gonna say, it took me a few times to pick up on the fact that HW that's his son's name, right? That HW isn't his son. Like
really?
that it's the son of that dude.
Oh,
that
yeah, I
died at
know.
the beginning.
You
Yeah,
see
And
it
it's like
at the very
it
beginning.
took me a few times to get that. And so that was like an interesting layer on top of like his relationship with his son. And then like, man, that fucking scene at the end, like, it's like it kicks off like the closing act of the movie is his son saying, I'm going to
Bastard in a
Mexico.
basket.
Bro,
That's a good one. That's a good
it's
line.
so
Bastard in a basket's a
cold.
good line.
Echoing.
Well, it's
Yeah,
also
man.
this guy doesn't give a shit about anything but making money, really. So it's it was astounding to me after watching it that he took that kid in the first place after his dad died in that accident. And
He took him because he could use him.
yeah, I
know,
guess
There's
so.
that.
Yeah,
There's that, but there's
Man.
also like a back of my head, like, which may just be naive. Maybe he took him because he wanted to take care of him too.
Maybe.
Leaving the
doubt
baby
it.
in the oil
No,
field.
because I think you're right. I think it gives us like time back to when he got that confession out of him in the church or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like there's just enough like humanity in him to indicate that like one, he feels remorse for what he's done to his son, but it's like everybody, we all want some kind of connection.
Mhm.
And even if you're a fucking despicable fuck like him,
That's why,
know.
like at the end with that speech he gives to his son, when it's aged up and his son's like, I married Mary, I'm going to Mexico to start my own. I felt like his reaction was a jerk reaction. Like he was like, oh, this motherfucker's betraying me after what he's interpreting everything he's ever done for him.
Yeah.
And he said stuff that he means, but it's not. It's like when your own dad says something that he regrets immediately, and then he like, I don't know if you guys had abusive dads growing up.
yeah.
But he
But
would
that's
say something or do something and then come back later and be like, hey, I didn't mean that.
Yeah, my dad always does that after he tells me he loves me.
But that's where I took it. It's like he took it too far. And he's never going to have the chance to apologize that. And then we see him, a little bit later, and he's sunken deep into like alcoholism and just like a shell of the person
He's like on Jim Leahy shit, dude. Like
asleep on a fucking bowling alley in his house, and wakes up and eats some random fucking food. Like
Some steak he didn't finish the night before.
Man, yeah.
It's like
rough.
that Pamela Anderson fucking video. But anyway.
What?
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Don't know that one.
Anyway.
But we talked about, does he have regret? I think that might be the only thing that he's regretted in the entire movie is the way he spoke to his son at the end.
But
That's
also,
kinda how I interpreted it.
he sees, and everybody sees their children this way a little bit. He sees HW as an extension of himself.
Yeah.
That's a theme we see, because he kind of, a little too quickly, if you ask me, but you got to make a movie, trust Henry, it turns out not to be his brother. He kind of is interested because he's talking about basically his sort of rapacious and just capitalism, voracious appetite for competition, not only wanting to win, wanting other people not to win. He says, if it's in me, and then it's in you. So he feels almost tainted, and he knows he is, but he's just so disgusted with everything. He doesn't really care. And he sees that in Henry. And he says that. And I think that's one reason he's like, well, if I can trust anybody to be my business partner, it's you. And then he kind of does Abel to his Cain. And then also there's at the end of it where he says something, I don't even know who you are because you have none of me in you. He says that to HW. He says, because you're betraying me now, so now you're not working for me, so now I cannot connect you to me. He's saying, if you're not even with me genetically, I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
And he says at one point, he says it to Henry when they're like drinking by the campfire. He says, I don't need to look past what I see to know people. Like, he doesn't try, he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
He's just disgusted at
Yeah.
every point.
There's a very rigid internal logic to him as a character.
Because there's a very rigid internal logic to capitalism and expansion in that way.
Yeah, especially in that era. Like it was everything's so complicated now, and there are like systems on systems of like people getting rich and shit like that or whatever.
Yeah,
But
there's
back then,
NFTs.
it was just
and
like
shit.
there's all this shit in the earth. Who can get it up the quick?
Who can get it up? Which is an insane. It seems risky. It's so speculative. I'm sure they have better surveying equipment because we know how to find oil better. We can get it from tar sands and shit.
I wonder what like death rates were like. Like
My first note for this is
Fucking insane.
it needs to be called There Will Be OSHA because there's so many violations in this
Yeah.
movie.
I've read into like the starting of like oil fields and things like that. They're still fucking like hella dangerous today. That's why it's so fucking fucked. But it was fucking insane back then. Like,
there's no hard hats in this movie.
No, not at all. One of the things that was most impressive to me about this movie is that they built a fucking oil drill basically.
I know, dude.
The set pieces in this are fucking insane.
The amount of knowledge you'd have to have to make this movie.
It's the light, but it's the day. It's like the beginning from the beginning to the end of when the fire starts on the oil thing.
Oh man,
the way the sun like actually sets over the course of the thing,
and
like the way it just settles into it's black and it's fire.
I love that.
Possibly the best shot in the whole movie.
Of him. I mean, it's iconic of just oil on his face, just looking manic as hell.
Haunting.
His coworker goes to take care of his son.
Oh my god, that's what immediately set the scale and the tone was. Even at the very beginning was the music. I was like, damn, this is haunting as fuck.
This is one of my favorite scores ever.
Yeah, dude, people are still it's like Hans Zimmer's fucking Inception trailer shit. People are still fucking copying that in movies and in trailers, and people are still fucking copying the jarring, shrill, like stabby strings of There Will Be Blood.
And let's see what else this guy's done. His name is Johnny Greenwood.
He's done a ton of stuff.
Radiohead.
Yeah,
he's in Radiohead.
Is he? Okay, I missed.
He does all of PTA's shit.
This is random.
Thread was like
Adrian.
God's tier. Yeah.
Adrian, you'll appreciate this. I feel like something that stole from this was BioShock Infinite. Specifically when you escape from Songbird the first time and there's clanking and stuff.
I've listened to that track like 20 times.
Yeah.
And so hearing this music, I was like, okay, I can see how inspirational this was to a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people.
No, the score is amazing. It's perfect. It's
Also,
I've heard it described. It's a movie monster horror score, but for Daniel Plainview.
Yeah.
I want to talk.
Correct.
Go ahead.
I want to talk about that scene where the other. It's like the two guys. He's sitting down with the two people who are wanting to buy in, or he's trying to buy.
Yeah, the Standard Oil. They're from Standard Oil.
Yeah.
That the fucking line that he says where he's just like, "I'll cut your throat," basically, is one of my favorite presented lines in the whole fucking movie, man.
Yeah.
He said
he's a cutthroat businessman.
It was fucking crazy. But like the confrontation he has with him later in the movie, where he's got his son back, and he's like, why don't you tell me what to do with my fucking family now? I have my fucking family here. And drinks that whiskey that he had presented to his table. God damn, that's the biggest Chad move in the whole fucking movie.
But it's not. It's weak. It's weakness. Because the Standard Oil guys don't care. They're from Standard Oil. Standard Oil was such a monopoly. I mean, we have The reason we even like have the term monopoly or have antitrust laws is because of Rockefeller and Standard Oil and all that. He even says like, "Oh, that's the railroad business," and Daniel's like, "You don't own the railroads," stuff like that. So it's absolutely, yeah. Those guys don't care. Yeah, they last on money, and it's also he's just angry because he wants other people to lose, not just for him to win.
Yeah.
He can't handle it. He's even mad that they got their drinks first before their table got served before his. And he ordered for it. He gets mad at that, which is insane.
It's boomer shit.
Here's the thing. I want to go back to the beginning because I also read Paul Thomas Anderson talking about this a bit. But part of you respect Daniel?
Yes.
I
think you have to.
You have to at some point.
Yeah.
And he even said the first 20 minutes, which he have no dialogue, and he borrowed, it's basically The Birth of Man from 2001. He took that, but made it around a single individual. You see him become himself. He has next to nothing, gets silver, gets a broken leg. I don't see why he didn't get his shit out of the thing before lighting the dynamite. I don't know. But and does all that, crawls, gets the capital, hustles his way. Like you cannot say he didn't inherit any of this.
Right.
No, he's kind of what capitalism produces when you get people who start their small business and come up and then decide that they need to own everything.
Yes. He's an oil man.
Yeah,
I'd say I'm an oil man.
We didn't get enough oil, sweet oil fucking lines in this fucking movie.
So he never has a girlfriend. He never marries. It's brought up quite a bit. Is it because he doesn't give a fuck? He just cares about money, or
I think he's gay,
or there's something?
I never thought of it until like right now, but like actually thinking about it, like he very much acts like a powerful man at that time who actually might like dudes and not be.
You really think so? I was just trying to be edgy.
It's speculative for one. The assumption is that he was probably straight.
I think no, because they mentioned him chasing after women and stuff. I mean, he might be. I think he's just
because that one time the dudes bring up the wife while he's with his kid, he like gets angry about it, and it's like, no, don't push that issue.
Well, here's the thing. Something I think about. So that man, George H.W.'s real son, or real dad, did he have a wife? Or did Daniel just take this kid from this person? I guess that his mother must be out of the picture, or there'd be no legal recourse for him to do that. Other than just like, I'm going to take this kid.
Well, the kid shouldn't have been out there for one thing,
Well, but the kid had to. If there's no mother, the kid had to be out there.
That has
That's what it is. And he, I don't know. Yeah, I think he just doesn't care about. He hates people,
Yeah.
Which he bluntly says. I didn't expect him just level with the guy and be like, "Hey, I don't like people. I don't like myself."
Yeah.
It's reminiscent of the line from a Lil Wayne song, "Married to the money, fuck the world, that's adultery."
That's right.
For sure. That's a great line, actually.
The blueprint.
It's one of my favorites.
Lil Wayne's playing Memphis in May. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I would go see a Lil Wayne show in an instant. But when HW ends up getting hurt and losing his hearing, that's truly one of the most like terrifying scenes in the whole fucking movie, man.
Yeah.
He launches off and it cuts to him and they cut all the sound.
Yeah.
And so it's just a small snippet of him for a second, but they call it sound. So I was like, oh fuck.
It's a terrifying prospect.
Yeah, dude, it's so fucking scary.
Sound of Metal is scary in the same way.
Yeah, that's
and
what
it's not as
yeah. Oh,
and that's why the kid. Imagine losing your hearing that age. No one can talk to you. No subtitles.
I don't even think he can read.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's
because there's at one point
he's gonna fucking act out,
holding the diary upside down. Yeah, and his dad's not helping him.
And like truly terrifying concept. And of course he's gonna be freaked out. He's gonna lay in bed, and his dad just didn't want to deal with him, so he just starts lacing his milk with fucking liquor, get him drunk.
Yeah, forces him to
Horror.
It's fucking
Yeah.
horrifying. This is
And
a
it's
horror
like
movie in a lot of ways.
the scene where his son gets injured and like the rig blows up and shit like that. Like it's around like the middle of the movie,
Yeah,
right?
it's an hour
Like
in.
yeah. And so it's like it's around the middle and it's like it leads up to and it like descends from that. And it's like so there's a lot of like epic like cinematography in it, like a lot of really like dank wide shots and shit
Yeah.
like that or whatever. So it's like it has a look of grandeur, but like the weight of everything that's happening beneath the surface, like what Daniel's character like means for like his humanity and like the emotional weight with his son and like the relentless like pursuit of power and shit like that, like the rig like malfunctioning and tanking and having that set piece in the middle of the movie, like it effectively captures the weight of everything else. It's like it's very much just like a kind of quiet character drama for the good little bit of it, you know, and until like we get this random set piece that's more akin to like a bigness that you'd get with like an action movie or an adventure movie or something like that, and it looks magnificent and it's horrifying and shit like that. And it's like
It's something you might get of like a gunslinging western, except it's in a character drama sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about Paul Dano's performance.
Oh
this is
yeah,
one of his fucking
Bruh, for real.
Playing Paul in the beginning and giving up his basically selling his family for $500 was unexpected. And then whenever they pop back up at the thing, I didn't realize he was playing both characters.
Yeah, the first time I saw it, that was a bit confusing. I think the original plan was to have a different actor for Paul, the first brother, and then that fell through. And they were just like, "Hey, Paul Dano, can you play both brothers?" And he was like,
well, I mean, but the twins work so well.
It does, and it adds to the. There's kind of a almost a Cain and Abel thing. Same thing with Daniel. It's almost like selling out your family for material wealth.
Talks about that, like after he gets his shit smacked around by Plainview and forced to eat mud and stuff, like real schoolboy shit, real embarrassing. He goes back to his house and confronts his dad about raising a fucking loser, basically. He's like, "You're a loser who fucking raised a loser," and then starts to fight him. And I didn't realize.
No, see, that's the thing. Is he's just jealous of his brother because his brother had the smarts to take a look at where he was at and was like, I want fucking more than my life.
Yeah,
this little plot of land, and it's like that's evil. Like not to like diverge too much or whatever, but I think that's an element of what Scott was talking about when he asked if any of us had like respect for him at any point or whatever, which is it's like it's this big umbrella of capitalism and we live in it, and via this look at like the roots of like how it came to be and shit like that or whatever, I think there's always going to be a part of like each and every one of us or whatever that like, not even that it's conscious. This is very abstract. If I need to shut the fuck up, holler at me. But yeah, it's like so much, not even if it's conscious, but it's like there's always going to be a degree of us that wants to fuck shit up and get the proverbial bag. You know what I mean? And especially with like the dark aspects of ourselves, so there we go.
I think there's a big theme concerning with Eli, like money versus God. Because throughout maybe there's a big rivalry between him and Daniel, but then at the end he's willing to give up and say things like, "I am not a prophet," like all this false.
That's like chips on the table shit. Cards on like it's like there you go. That's
everybody
what
sells out, and it's interesting to see him go from someone because he wants control of the town through religion, I think.
He just wants power. He wants what Daniel wants. He wants power,
because they're both the same thing.
Yeah, they are the same.
They're both religions, and they're both the two currents of America are unbound capitalism and unbound religion, because you don't have a history of institutions controlling those things. That's why we have so many denominations in America and so many different things, because you didn't have institutions correct it. I mean, because obviously the church and money have always been like this. I guess I'll be an expat and say I live in Spain. There's a connection. So It's and that's what this movie. I feel like I like this movie in a different way now. When I was a teenager, I was blown away by the set pieces and the performances. And
Yeah,
I
it's
still
like it's a
I
very
still
watchable
am.
movie. I don't
Yeah.
resonate with the I don't resonate with the this movie makes me sleepy. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's like I've never gotten it.
Really?
Like it's like it's paced like kind of stretched out. Like there are
Yeah.
some long scenes, and it's like not necessarily the most boisterous thing, but especially with the score. The score like keeps me on edge, and like you're the set pieces and the performances.
And
It,
you have to go along with it. But what I was saying is I felt my appraisal of this when I was a teenager. I was too much of I thought thematically it was a bit simple. And because I kind of read it as like greed bad, religion bad. And is that what the movie is saying? Yeah, kind of. But there's more interesting interplays between the two. And then also I think as an adult, I think sometimes simple commentary or simple themes are simple and important for a reason. Satire doesn't always have to be subtle.
Yes.
Which is something Adrian and I have been talking about recently with a completely different movie, but Don't Look
Yeah.
Up. It's like, well, satire doesn't have to be subtle. This movie's 1,000 times more subtle than that. And I wouldn't say this movie's
Yeah.
themes are subtle, but that movie it could have been a bit more subtle. But it could have been a lot. But
It's
I don't
like
know,
you can watch it on that level of like the surface level shit, like you were talking about, like what it's obviously like about, to your fucking like the drones and the academy and shit like that. They watched it was like, oh, that was really good. But it's like honestly, like you were saying, with it being centered around oil in this way, like that actually makes it a little bit like archetypal. Because, like you were
it's so
saying,
archetypal.
it's this stuff of the underworld, and when you begin to incorporate the stuff of the underworld into your story,
and it burns in a Miltonian fashion.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like it gives it longevity.
Also,
see, I was
ridiculous?
interested to see Adrian's take on it because
we've been out. I've actually been waiting for a good moment to ask that.
Yeah.
So
about what?
Adrian.
Yeah,
I want to hear. I mean,
yeah, you're on the spot.
Come on, Kino Cowboy, drop
I feel like you're still chewing on this movie.
Oh yeah, well, it's
one to chew
it's
on.
a movie,
and also tell me about your expectations going into this, because I've told you multiple times to watch this movie.
Me too.
I'm not trying to hype it up too much.
Yeah, I was like, I hyped it up too much.
Well,
and I hope I didn't hype it up too much.
It's been hyped up in the film bro community for 15 years.
It is a bit film bro-y.
Of course, I really didn't know much about the movie at all. I kind of just avoided shit. You hear about it. I heard about it in the late 2000s on the internet, but then after that, I kind of just like, once I got older, I was like, I'm gonna watch this someday. I'm just gonna avoid discussions about this.
For sure.
So,
which I think is valid, but you know.
I was expecting more of a Western, I guess, from the title and just like the images I've seen. And I knew it was gonna be oil or something, but it still is a Western, despite there not being a gunslinger or shootout. It's still a Western to me, because that's the core is Western expansion. So, and
how many Kinos out of Cowboys do you give?
Yeah, I quickly realized that it was going to be a dense like character study, and so I was like, okay, I'm in on this. And the very first scene with him and his son, after a few years had passed, and he's like giving that spiel to the townsfolk, I immediately got the character. I immediately got what he was doing, and Daniel Day-Lewis. I was like, okay, because I haven't seen many films with Daniel Day-Lewis, so I was like, wow, this is already like he's zeroed in on this. It's an iconic performance. Let's go. And I enjoyed what I saw.
Can I ask how many P.T. Anderson films have you seen?
I've only seen Inherent Vice and Boogie Nights.
Okay.
I still need to
Inherent
see
Vice.
Phantom Thread, and because that's the last movie Daniel Day-Lewis did, right?
Licorice Pizza
Yes.
was.
Yeah, Phantom Thread was good, but
Yeah,
it's not
Licorice
like There Will Be
Pizza's-
Blood.
Licorice
Iconic.
Pizza's P.T. Anderson's latest film.
No, I said Daniel
Yeah.
Day-Lewis.
Oh, Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah, that's Daniel Day-Lewis's latest film that I can think of. He
He's
also did
in-
Lincoln
okay.
and all that
He's
stuff.
done. Yeah, that was
He's
his
done.
swan song.
Well, I just, like I said earlier, I was expecting it for everything to fall apart around him, and for a while, when it skipped to the late 20s, my mind was like trying to conflict with what the movie was doing. I was like, no, it should have done this or that, and then I just said fuck it and detached myself and absorbed what they were going for, and then I had to think about it. I was like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. This is a realistic thing that would happen, and it's one of those movies that you just got to sit on for a little bit. And I'm still sitting on it, so I did
When
enjoy
did
it.
you watch this?
Huh?
When
watched
did you
it
watch this?
Literally
Today?
last night.
Last night.
Yeah.
So you're still, yeah.
So like it's been like 12 hours. So
Okay.
because
That's
I
not a lot
like
of time
to
for this movie.
for the podcast, I usually like to watch it like only a day or two before we cast.
Yeah, I did it on
Um,
Thursday.
Fresh.
So I did enjoy it. And at first I was like, why is everyone giving this a fucking 10 out of 10 score? But the more we've talked about today, the more I've really it helps speed up the process of chewing on the film. So yeah, I think it's a really good movie.
There's a lot there for sure.
Have you you guys have how many of the films that P.T. Anderson have you guys watched? Scott and Sumner.
I think I've only seen this
Okay.
and Phantom Thread.
Okay, what about
And
you?
that
Sam?
might be the only, I think that's the only other Daniel Day-Lewis thing
Yeah,
I've
I've
seen.
seen this and Phantom Thread.
Phantom Thread's really good
You know,
too.
see My
yeah.
Left Foot.
Yeah.
No, I need to see Boogie Nights. I forgot. For some reason, I didn't realize. Okay, this is how stupid I am. I thought Licorice Pizza was Wes Anderson, not Paul Thomas. I know nothing about it
Wow.
other than I see posters when I walk
That's
around on bus stops.
I've had the chance to see it, but I didn't, because when I was working at the theaters when it came out, and when I was working at the theater, I didn't want to go see movies. I was like, well,
Fair
this
enough,
isn't
yeah.
going to work for me. I got to do something else.
Yeah.
That's fair. This is. I think it's just in theaters here. I think it's still in theaters, so
I don't
I
think
might
it's
go
hit
see it in
digital
theaters
yet.
this week.
I just wanted to say I wanted to see how comparably you guys felt, because I've seen most of P.T. Anderson's work. I wanted to see how you guys compared it to the rest of his work. I personally, I really like it. I rank it up with one of the higher ones that I've seen. I've seen like Boogie Nights, Magnolia, The Master, Phantom Thread. Still need to see Licorice Pizza.
Oh yeah, dude. No, I was totally no, carry on. Yeah.
Oh, I've
also
seen
did,
Punch
like-
Drunk Love.
Yeah, Punch
like,
Drunk Love. He's done that. And
way long ago before I could appreciate it.
he's like a master of character studies, because The Master is a fucking insane character study.
Bro,
He is-
I've seen this, I've seen Phantom Thread, and I forgot about The Master, and The Master is aging like fine wine.
it's
That movie's
one of my
got
favorite movies.
yeah, that movie's eerie. Yeah.
But There Will Be Blood definitely ranks up as high, close to as high with The Master. I still prefer like Punch Drunk Love and Boogie Nights over it. But
He's only
I need to see
directed
Boogie
9
Nights.
features.
yeah, every single one of those features is a fucking banger.
Yeah, it's
Because he's
Hard
the-
8. I don't know what that is, but
That's
then
the
the
one I
rest,
haven't seen is Hard 8.
and that's 90. But then after that, it's that a year later he does Boogie Nights. Then
Yeah.
it goes Boogie Nights, Magnolia, Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood, The Master, Inherent Vice, Phantom Thread, Licorice Pizza. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's an insane fucking filmography. And if you haven't seen The Master, I would highly suggest watching that next.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
watch it.
I second. Yeah.
I
Rodriguez
love
on
me
Netflix.
some
No,
No,
Philip Seymour.
dude, The Master is the anti-Scientology movie Hollywood can never make.
Yeah,
It's literally
insane.
it's as close as they can get to taking like a hard, close look and saying all this is fucked.
Yeah,
Like, and it's incredible. That movie introduced me to Rami as like a serious actor.
yeah.
Because I saw him at Night at the Museum, of course. But he was in The Master, and I was like, all right, this fella, So
I think P.T. Anderson mastered the character study. Even like in Magnolia, it's 9 different character studies basically. Like there's like 9 different characters that connect. and you get to know
Okay, so I can put it like this. I don't think The Master is quite on There Will Be Blood tier, but I think Joaquin Phoenix as Freddie Quell is as good as Daniel Day-Lewis.
Ooh,
yeah.
that is a bold claim.
It maybe not on the nose, but it's pretty close. Like his character in The Master is pretty banging. Like,
that's probably my favorite.
So is God, kill me. Why am I forgetting his name?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
that's his best role ever.
Yeah,
like, it's his best role, man. L. Ron Hubbard, basically.
Here's a side note. You know what I like about Paul Thomas Anderson?
What?
He dropped out of film school because his professor shat on Terminator 2. He was like, Terminator 2 is a great movie, and he dropped out and got his tuition back.
No, dude, one time it was like, I think it was Fiona Apple gave some random interview, and she was like, yeah, I was invited to this private screening of this movie with Paul Thomas Anderson and Quentin Tarantino. And she said they did so much blow and got into shit that, like, she said she was horrified. Like, she said she was horrified at what Paul Thomas Anderson and Quentin Tarantino got up to with cocaine.
Yeah, she said that. Like,
I don't know. I think they're just animals.
I think they do a lot of coke.
No, yeah, and she said that Tarantino was like getting up and pointing at shit on the screen, like saying like, "Oh my god, this is like high on fucking coke, dude."
Can you imagine a live director's commentary from Tarantino on cocaine?
That's a room
that sounds insufferable.
Yeah, man.
I would have a blast.
I would too, but it's I don't know, man. Have you ever? Tarantino's more interesting than these people, but when I've had people come up to me at the bar and start talking to me, and they're obviously on cocaine, and it's the most obnoxious thing.
Yeah,
it's so annoying. They just don't shut up.
That's why you just got to be on cocaine too, man.
No. Everybody keeps trying to get me to do cocaine. It's weird.
I need to rewatch Inherent Vice because I really like that movie. It was a grower for sure, and that's another character study and an unconventional role for Joaquin Phoenix because he's like this fucking hippie burnout, like drug addict, basically. And it's almost like The Big Lebowski, where like his role is almost inconsequential, and he just goes on this weird psychedelic journey through like Hollywood, basically.
And that's Thomas Pynchon.
And people were complaining about that film, the way it was edited, because it seems kind of choppy, but that's the fucking point. And I don't know. Thomas I just want to shout out that movie. So like, I've always, for some reason, slept on PTA. I don't know why. I just haven't watched a lot of his stuff, but I would like to watch The Master for sure, because Dylan Rodriguez, who is an alumni from the show, as he keeps talking about The Master, he comes back to it. He's like, man, I keep coming back to this movie. You gotta watch it. So, you know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit up some PTA. I'm gonna see Licorice Pizza, and then I'm gonna see
the movie's in hot water.
And then
there's a lot of controversy over Licorice Pizza right now.
Because I don't know what it is, but I'll see it. I don't even want to know it.
Oh, okay.
I'll make my own decisions.
Yeah, I don't know.
You hear that, Hollywood? Hear that, you liberals? Scott Keith makes his own decisions.
Yeah, I want to watch it too and have an opinion, because I'm wondering if it's just neoliberals overreacting, or maybe there isn't the proper context that I'm hoping there is, and it's just awkward. We'll see.
Does like Hitler get a blowjob in it, or like what happens? Is it rapey?
It's a girl in her 20s having a relationship kinda with a 15-year-old boy.
Oh,
it's pretty. I don't know what the actual context is, but it's like a coming of age movie. So
that's what TikTok says
it
is. So I don't know.
Well, that's TikTok, dude. They don't even watch movies. They don't watch anything longer than 90 seconds. They can't do 90 minutes. They can't. I don't give a shit what TikTok.
That's right, boys.
TikTok says.
God,
I'm too fucking
Zoomers.
I'm too patrician. I hate all new media, and I will only watch things on film. I have a film reel, projector thing in my room.
Scott will only watch movies that were shot on film, so he'll watch Force Awakens, but not Revenge of the Sith. Got it?
Yeah, exactly. I've only seen like
It's not a
4
fucking
Star Wars
podcast
movies.
without a Star Wars fucking reference. I swear to
Yeah,
God.
yeah,
I'm
we can get
sorry.
it in the There Will
We
Be
can't get
Blood.
through-
We almost went a whole podcast.
I
We've
know.
been doing. We went almost an hour. Almost an hour.
I'm gonna
Adrian.
do.
So do you
all
guys
of us a
think that
favor, and
There
I'm
Will Be
not gonna
Blood?
jump into that. So
Do you guys think There Will Be Blood is better than Marvel's Endgame?
Good one.
Yes.
Do you think
Some guy dropped the Marvel?
let's ask Martin Scorsese.
no. Let's hold on.
No, we're not really going to discuss this.
No. So if There Will Be Blood, when he comes across that ancient Sith knife that somehow shows the Death Star.
Man, I thought about rewatching Return of Skywalker or whatever.
Return
And
of
I saw that
Skywalker.
small scene on TikTok and went, no, I don't want to watch it.
The opening of Rise of Skywalker is pretty fucking sick with the image. And anyway,
That's how they get us. It's like, oh, that's sick. It's like second long chunks of, oh, that's sick, and then it takes us back, and we know we have to wait. And
this is a
Well,
disease.
What would you say your favorite?
it's
Daniel
not a disease
Day-Lewis-
for me.
What would you guys say is your favorite Daniel Day-Lewis film?
This
This?
because I've
Like,
only seen
Well,
one
yeah,
other.
this for sure.
Have
I
you guys
mean,
not seen Gangs of New York?
Nope.
No, I haven't.
Whoa, Gangs of New York is my favorite.
I
I haven't
watched
seen
it
that. Haven't
sleepy.
seen the last of the White
Yeah.
Saviors. Nothing.
So my favorite is this, but I will give him credit because when I saw Lincoln in theaters, like I actually shed a tear or two. Like that movie, it moved me emotionally.
That's a
I
white
doubt
savior
it would do
movie.
the same now, but yeah.
You cried over a white savior movie? Is that-
Yeah. You know, Lincoln was against interracial marriage, Sumner.
I don't know.
Do you know that?
I don't know shit about history. I have no context for anything.
Oh, so you're a zoomer on
I
TikTok.
dropped out of college 3 times. Hop out, me.
Dude,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's better than somebody who's I don't even know.
Y'all never saw that movie, My Left Foot?
Yeah.
No, what is that?
That's
My left
it's from
foot.
like '89.
Oh, it looks better than my right one.
No, it's a old. It's OG Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, plays a guy who like loses the ability
Like
to
he
walk.
can't fucking move, but
He's in Last of the Mohicans.
he learns to like write with his foot or
He is,
whatever. and it's like
he's
a
an
tragic
Irish
thing.
man born with cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like his role in Gangs of New York a whole fucking lot.
Frankly, I actually resonated. I liked the movie. It wasn't as tight as There Will Be Blood, but I resonate a lot with his character in Phantom Thread.
Okay.
It's about a demanding guy in a relationship, and it's
Yeah.
like I'm not really that's probably not for me to say,
And
but
it's
like,
about the myth of male genius. And
yeah,
and
that's actually and like the male ego. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's a pretty incisive movie.
no, that's a dope movie. I like that
Yeah.
a lot.
I agree.
It's not as it doesn't have set pieces like There Will Be Blood, or
Mhm.
anything like that. Because I think that's one thing that got people to watch this. Because I think
Yeah.
this was an era where like people would watch movies. Although I think it was one of those things. I remember my brother and mom watching this and then thinking it was slow.
Yeah.
So this lost to No Country for Old Men at the
Yeah, which at the time I feel like my opinions of I used to like this movie better, but now I like No Country better. I think.
God, I fucking love No Country for Old
I'm the
Men.
opposite. Yeah.
I only saw No Country for Old Men that one time. I was 9 out of 10 fucking baked.
Really?
Yeah, you need to rewatch that.
That was the first
Yeah,
time
that's-
I watched it. Was
That's a
in your
movie.
apartment.
You watch that sober.
Yeah. So like,
Oh
it's
yeah,
also
sure.
against,
Yeah, Scott Swab, if you're listening to this, I was reading my Bible while trying to look up at the screen. But
The
So the other films that it was against were Atonement, Juno. Michael
Juno got
Clayton.
nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, Best
Wow.
Picture. Michael Clayton was another one. Those are the
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I haven't thought of Michael Clayton.
I haven't either, dude. That's
Middle school
completely-
vibes.
But yeah, those are the three that other than No Country for Old Men that There Will Be Blood. Yeah, There Will Be Blood and No Country for Old Men. were
So
definitely-
The Dark Knight didn't get a Best Picture.
That's
nom?
2008,
year.
my
No.
guy.
Yeah.
That was the next year.
That's the next
This
year.
is 07.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm
man,
trying to
yeah.
see if it won anything. I don't think that There Will Be Blood won anything at this.
That's a shame.
Academy.
Did it not win best? Did he not win best actor?
He did.
He won best actor.
I'm
Yeah.
looking right now. Sorry.
And then I think
oh yeah, he did. Sorry,
Javier Bardem won best supporting.
Yep.
Man,
I revisited Juno a few years. I was worried it was going to be annoying, like twee indie, like.
That's great.
And then I rewatched. I was like, nope, this holds up really well. This is really
It was
good.
great, yeah.
So I was happy.
I
about
always
that.
thought once that would be interesting and
It's a great movie.
It's not the best movie, but like I do enjoy it, and
I think it was a culturally important movie to have
yeah.
a big
seemed
teen
like
pregnancy movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was our first like real big dive into Elliot Page too, which is cool to see him. It's cool to see that and then see him now. It's interesting.
And then that was in the middle of the Michael Cera Renaissance. Not even Renaissance,
yeah.
just the regular Renaissance.
That's like what threw him into stardom.
Well,
really.
it was
super bad.
It was like that and Superbad came out the same year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And then and
Then Nick and Nora and all these other
dude.
And also Elliot Page got famous from Trailer Park Boys from being
one season of like barely any speaking roles.
She was a semi-regular for a few seasons, and she'd made it in Canada. Look, so that's not nothing.
Yeah, but making it in Canada, that's like making it in Rwanda. Who cares?
Oh my god, dude.
Canada was big. Trailer Park Boys was big in Canada right off the bat. It became an institution relatively quickly. It blew Kate's mind. We started Trailer Park Boys just a few months ago, and she saw then Ellie Page, and she was like, "Yeah, it's wild for sure."
Yeah.
And now Trinity's doing OnlyFans, I hear, and times are wild.
Yeah. Oh man. No, give me Sarah Dunsworth. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not.
I am.
Pro Sarah 22.
I mean, Sarah's a better character than Lucy. This isn't a Trailer Park Boys cast, though.
Maybe it should be.
Hey, dude,
is Trailer Park Boys a Western?
Lewis needs to come out of retirement for the Trailer Park Boys.
Fourth movie.
Cumulative.
This is a side note. So the person who chases down when the first spoken dialogue of the movie, when he's given that spiel to the people to try to get a lease or whatever for the land, and then he walks out because they're being crazy, and then the guy chases him down. It's like, Mr. Plainview. That is comedian and actor Paul F. Tompkins from Mr. Show.
Yeah, it is
a bunch of things.
I forgot.
And you barely even see his face in it, but he has a bit like 5 minutes where he talks about working on this movie. And one of the things he says is, I was afraid of him sitting in a chair. And people say Daniel Day-Lewis is intense, and that's not true. He is the most intense person on the planet.
Not Jared Leto.
Man, it would suck to be on set with Daniel Day-Lewis playing like fucking method acting Daniel Plainview.
Well, here's the thing. I heard about that.
Think about Gangs of New York, where he was like a fucking like deranged.
What the fuck? Idiot is fuck that.
Well, what I think it's part of it is, it's that he is, when you're method acting like that, you keep the mannerisms and stuff. But he's not necessarily, he might be, I don't know, going to be yelling at people and stuff like that. That's what I've heard. I don't know. Imagine standing next to the urinal to Daniel Plainview and him be like, "Hello, Scott, how are you?"
Well, have you seen that documentary about Jim Carrey's method acting?
Oh, well, Jim Carrey's a douche for that.
No, I thought it was awesome. I love that.
Jim Carrey's all right. Yeah.
Well,
I can only imagine.
Dude, I guess bringing it to the very end, it's like somewhere I had heard his little spiel to Eli where he
about the milkshake.
Yeah, just
that's Dylan Barber. Dylan Barber did that monologue for drama.
What?
Dylan Barber did that monologue for drama. I swear on everything I fucking love.
Dylan Barber's
like he said the thing about like sliding. Oh my god.
Yeah, he did the whole fucking like, I steal your milkshake, it's my milkshake type shit.
That's
man.
gnarly. Because that's one of the most meanest.
That's really funny.
That's like the meanest thing I've ever heard someone say.
Yeah, he did that
It's
monologue.
famous for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
It's pretty
People
iconic at this point.
out of context, it sounds funny and memey. Like I drink your milkshake, but in context, it's
Brutal.
downright sinister. It's
Yeah.
It's scary.
it's I've taken everything from you and
That's-
you don't even know it.
That's when the movie it all came together at once for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was blood. The promise was fulfilled.
Ah.
There was blood.
Yeah.
I'm finished.
Correct.
Fuck, that's such a
Do
good
you
line.
guys think it's believable that Daniel would be, I don't know, kill 2 people?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially drunk.
Like that's the thing. Is like that's for me. Like that's one of my subjective like things of like whether or not I find a movie really good. Like it's really hard for me to suspend my disbelief watching a movie. And even with little things like that, but they built his character so meticulously, even with like all the shit that we talked about, it's like absolutely yes. Because because the first few are like tactical, he knows he won't get away with it. And then now that he's done that, by the end where he's like drunk, raving crazy or whatever, he's absolutely gonna do it.
Yeah.
thought
And,
it
and
was,
would he go to jail
And he
for
said
that?
he's
Or-
finished.
Oh
He
yeah.
said he's
Yeah,
finished.
I think he's done.
Yeah.
Do you think he's just finished with life, with everything?
Yeah, I think he's done. I think he's
Do you
like,
think he'd
I
go to
think it's
jail, or
layered.
do you think he'd be able to get like a self-defense and a really good lawyer and just get off?
Well,
Yeah,
let's
that's
do
a
the
distinct
sequel. Pitch
possibility.
it.
But
Oh.
there's not a lot of nuance in crushing someone's skull with a bowling pin,
no.
or or a defense
Multiple
to be
times,
had.
Did you guys think
Yeah.
it was interesting that Eli, when he's running around the bowling alley, is like, I'm your brother, stop this, I'm your brother.
yeah.
Just kept
Mhm.
calling himself Daniel's brother.
You're
And
not.
Daniel clubs his fucking head in. Hey,
Yeah,
more Cain and Abel shit.
yeah, true.
Mm.
Good
Yeah.
fucking movie.
Yeah, man, stellar movie. That whole ending scene though, watching him rebuke God and tell everybody he's a false prophet, and all so he could get something, and then he's like, "Well, I've already taken it. It's all."
Well,
gone."
here's the thing. Bowling alley lanes are really slippery, so
Yes.
I don't really buy that they were able to run around it on that. So I'm
They
gonna
were
have to give it
slipping.
2 out of 10.
Yeah.
2
They
out
were
of 10.
slipping though. They were both slipping
They
on
were
the
slipping.
What do
lane.
you think Eli did to come back to?
I think he needed money.
I know,
Yeah.
but like he must have done something fucked because he
I
was.
think it was probably just like horse and
Yeah,
coke.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Or
Probably
whatever.
tempted-
Oh,
or
okay.
like, yeah, or he.
so based shit, not
Yeah.
horrible shit. Okay.
No, I don't think he hurt anybody. I think it
Drinking,
was just,
whoring, gambling.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
that kind of stuff.
the cool shit.
And then
Yeah.
that was like right before
Trifecta of
Great
bullshit.
Depression hit, so the economy was
Yeah.
kind of weird.
True.
Although oil's a pretty, I guess, I would assume a safe investment.
Yeah.
I just love that it ends on "I'm finished." That line, and then
Yeah.
cut.
So
Yeah.
every movie should end.
Almost like
Here.
biblical.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Daniel Plainview is a Christ figure.
Oh, interesting.
and I'm not going to explain that one. We're just going to leave
Nope.
off on that one.
No,
Yeah, with that,
That should be the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, anything else you want to add or what?
Daniel Plainview reminds me a lot of Darth Vader.
Oh yeah,
and he has a plain view.
all
You see
right.
it, yeah. Yeah. Good film. Yeah.
Thanks, Sumner. You want to plug anything?
Yeah, Sumner, what would you rate
Yeah.
the Rise of
Do I,
Skywalker out of 10?
Rise
Anyway.
of Skywalker.
Anyway,
Dude,
thanks for
we're-
watching, guys.
Yeah, we're beating that joke with a bowling pin. Bye.
Yeah.